Welcome. Our quiz today is about Ramadan general knowledge. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more quizzes like this. Are you ready? Let's go. What does Ramadan commemorate in Islam? The revelation of the Quran to the Messenger of God, peace be upon him. Ramadan commemorates the month during which the first verses of the Quran were revealed to the Messenger of God, peace be upon him. During which month of the Islamic calendar does Ramadan occur? Ramadan, Banyu. Ramadan is the 9th month of the Islamic calendar during which Muslims fast from dawn until sunset. What is the obligatory act of fasting during Ramadan called in Arabic? Sawm. Sawm is the Arabic term for the obligatory act of fasting during the month of Ramadan. Who is exempt from fasting during Ramadan? Travelers, the ill, pregnant, and nursing women. Islamic teachings exempt travelers, the ill and pregnant or nursing women from the obligation of fasting, though they may make up the days later if able. What is the pre-dawn meal consumed before fasting begins called? Sahur. Sahur is the pre-dawn meal that Muslims consume before they begin fasting for the day during Ramadan. What is the meal called that breaks the fast at sunset during Ramadan? Iftar. Iftar is the meal that Muslims consume to break their fast at sunset each day during Ramadan. Which prayer is performed only during Ramadan at night? Tarawih. Tarawih prayers are special nightly prayers performed during the month of Ramadan after the Isha prayer. What is the night during which the first verses of the Quran were revealed to the Messenger of God, peace be upon him, called? Laylat al-Qadr. Laylat al-Qadr, often translated as the night of decree, is the night during which the first verses of the Quran were revealed to the Messenger of God. How many juz parts of the Quran are commonly recited each night of Ramadan in Tarawih prayers? One. It is common to recite one juz of the Quran each night during Tarawih prayers, completing the entire Quran by the end of Ramadan. What is the act of staying in the mosque for the last 10 days of Ramadan for worship called? Itikaf. Itikaf is the practice of staying in the mosque for the last 10 days of Ramadan to devote oneself entirely to worship and reading the Quran. Which angel revealed the Quran to the Messenger of God, peace be upon him, during Ramadan? Jibril, peace be upon him. The angel Jibril, peace be upon him, is believed to have revealed the Quran to the Messenger of God during the month of Ramadan. What significant battle won by Muslims under the leadership of the Messenger of God, peace be upon him, took place during Ramadan? Battle of Badr. The Battle of Badr, the first major battle in Islam, took place during Ramadan and was a decisive victory for Muslims under the leadership of the Messenger of God. Which charitable act is emphasized and highly recommended during Ramadan? Sadaqah. Sadaqah, or voluntary charity, is highly emphasized and recommended during Ramadan as a means of purifying wealth and helping those in need. What is the spiritual practice of intensifying prayer, supplication, and Quranic recitation during the last 10 nights of Ramadan seeking? Laylat al-Qadr. Muslims intensify their worship during the last 10 nights of Ramadan in search of Laylat al-Qadr, the night better than 1,000 months. What is the Arabic term for the night prayer during Ramadan? Qiyam. Qiyam refers to the night prayer during Ramadan, often associated with the Tarawih prayers that occur after Isha during this holy month. Which event is celebrated at the end of Ramadan? Eid al-Fitr. Eid al-Fitr is the festival celebrated at the end of Ramadan, marking the conclusion of the month-long fasting period. What special prayer do Muslims perform on the morning of Eid al-Fitr? Eid Salah. Eid Salah is a special congregational prayer performed in the morning of Eid al-Fitr, marking the end of Ramadan. How is the Zakat al-Fitr, obligatory charity given before the end of Ramadan, calculated? A fixed amount per family member. Zakat al-Fitr is calculated as a fixed amount of food or monetary equivalent given for each member of the household before the Eid al-Fitr prayer. What is the primary purpose of fasting during Ramadan according to Islamic teachings? To become closer to Allah, glorified and exalted. The primary purpose of fasting during Ramadan is to foster spiritual closeness to Allah, glorified and exalted, and to cultivate self-discipline. Who is the Sahaba known for narrating many hadiths about the practices of Ramadan by the Messenger of God, peace be upon him? Abu Huraira, Allah be pleased with him. Abu Huraira, Allah be pleased with him, is renowned for narrating many hadiths, including those concerning the practices of Ramadan observed by the Messenger of God. In which city did the Messenger of God, peace be upon him, first observe the fast of Ramadan? Mecca. The Messenger of God first observed the fast of Ramadan in Mecca, the city where he received the initial revelations of the Quran. What does fasting during Ramadan aim to teach Muslims? Patience and self-restraint. Fasting during Ramadan aims to teach Muslims patience, self-restraint, and empathy for those who are less fortunate. Which chapter, surah, of the Quran discusses the regulations and significance of fasting? Surah al-Baqarah. Surah al-Baqarah contains the verses that outline the regulations and spiritual significance of fasting during Ramadan. Which one of the following is not a valid reason for breaking one's fast during Ramadan? Feeling hungry. Feeling hungry is not considered a valid reason to break the fast during Ramadan, as the fast is intended to teach discipline and self-control. What action is recommended if someone unintentionally eats or drinks while fasting? Continue fasting. If someone unintentionally eats or drinks while fasting, they should continue their fast as it remains valid. What term describes the special voluntary prayers performed by the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, during the last 10 nights of Ramadan? Qiyam al-Layl. Qiyam al-Layl refers to the special voluntary prayers performed during the last 10 nights of Ramadan, aiming for increased spiritual reflection and seeking Laylat al-Qadr. What is the spiritual significance of Laylat al-Qadr? The night of power and decree. Laylat al-Qadr, the night of decree, is considered the holiest night in Islam, better than 1,000 months, during which the Quran was first revealed. What type of food is traditionally encouraged to break the fast with? Dates. It is traditionally recommended to break the fast with dates, as this was the practice of the Messenger of God, peace be upon him. What is the common greeting exchanged among Muslims during Ramadan? Ramadan Mubarak Mandi. Ramadan Mubarak is the common greeting exchanged among Muslims during Ramadan, meaning blessed Ramadan. Who was the first Muslim to fast for Ramadan along with the Messenger of God, peace be upon him? Khadija bint Khuwaylid, Allah be pleased with her. Khadija bint Khuwaylid, the wife of the Messenger of God, was among the first to fast for Ramadan with him. What happens to the gates of hell during Ramadan? They are closed. During Ramadan, it is believed that the gates of hell are closed as a mercy from Allah, glorified and exalted. What happens to the gates of paradise during Ramadan? They are opened. During Ramadan, the gates of paradise are opened, signifying increased blessings and opportunities for forgiveness. Which one of the following is a recommended act during Ramadan besides fasting? Increased charity, sadaqah. Increased charity, or sadaqah, is highly recommended during Ramadan as a way of purifying wealth and helping those in need. What does the increased recitation of the Quran during Ramadan commemorate? The revelation of the Quran. The increased recitation of the Quran during Ramadan commemorates its revelation to the Messenger of God, marking this month as a time of spiritual reflection and renewal. How is Laylat al-Qadr described in the Quran? A night better than 1,000 months. Laylat al-Qadr is described in the Quran as being better than 1,000 months, a time when good deeds are amplified in their reward. What historical Islamic event, other than the Battle of Badr, is believed to have taken place during Ramadan? The conquest of Mecca. The conquest of Mecca, a significant event in Islamic history, also took place during the month of Ramadan, marking a turning point in the spread of Islam. What are Muslims encouraged to seek during the last 10 nights of Ramadan? Laylat al-Qadr. During the last 10 nights of Ramadan, Muslims are particularly encouraged to seek Laylat al-Qadr, the night of decree, for its immense spiritual significance and reward. What is it called when Muslims spend the entire night in prayer, typically during the last 10 nights of Ramadan? Qiyam. Qiyam refers to the practice of spending the entire night in prayer, especially sought during the last 10 nights of Ramadan, to maximize worship and devotion. What impact does fasting during Ramadan have on one's sins according to Islamic teachings? Forgives them. Fasting during Ramadan is believed to purify the soul, leading to the forgiveness of past sins for those who fast with sincere faith and expectation of reward. What does the term Iftar literally mean? To break fast. Iftar literally means to break the fast, referring to the meal consumed by Muslims at sunset during Ramadan to end their daily fast. Who is specifically mentioned in the Quran as being forgiven during the last 10 nights of Ramadan? All of the above. The Quran mentions that all who seek forgiveness and engage in sincere worship, including prayer and charity, during the last 10 nights of Ramadan can be forgiven. What is the recommended supplication for when one sees the new moon of Ramadan? Allahu Akbar, Allahumma ahillahu alayna bil-amni wal-iman. The recommended supplication upon seeing the new moon of Ramadan is Allahu Akbar, Allahumma ahillahu alayna bil-amni wal-iman, which means Allah is the greatest. O Allah, let this moon pass over us with peace and faith. How is the end of Ramadan determined? Both B and C. The end of Ramadan is determined by the sighting of the new moon or by completing 30 days of fasting, depending on the visibility of the moon. What special considerations are given to the community during Ramadan to help those who are less fortunate? Increased charity and community meals. During Ramadan, there are increased efforts in charity and providing community iftars, meals, to help those who are less fortunate. What role do community iftars play during Ramadan? They foster community bonding and support the needy. Community iftars play a crucial role in fostering community bonding and supporting the needy by ensuring everyone has the opportunity to break their fast together. What is the significance of reciting the entire Quran during the month of Ramadan? It commemorates the revelation of the Quran. Reciting the entire Quran during Ramadan commemorates its revelation to the Messenger of God, enhancing spiritual reflection and connection with the divine. Who typically leads the Tarawih prayers in a mosque? An appointed or qualified imam. The Tarawih prayers are typically led by an appointed or qualified imam who is knowledgeable in Quranic recitation. How is the Quran used in daily prayers during Ramadan? Recited in portions in every prayer. During Ramadan, portions of the Quran are recited in every prayer, with a particular emphasis on completeness in Tarawih prayers. What kind of charity is particularly emphasized to be given during Ramadan and before Eid prayers? Zakat al-Fitr. Zakat al-Fitr is a specific form of charity given during Ramadan, emphasized to purify the fasting person from any indecent act or speech, and to help the poor and needy. What is a common misconception about fasting during Ramadan that is addressed in Islamic teachings? fasting is only abstaining from food and drink. A common misconception is that fasting during Ramadan is merely abstaining from food and drink, whereas it also involves refraining from sinful behaviors and thoughts, focusing on spiritual growth.